It's been 10 years and I 30 am still not over my college girlfriend 29F. What can I do? I'll start by providing some context but don't want to spend too much time talking about the relationship if I can avoid it. I dated a girl for 2 years in college from when I was 18 to 20. The relationship was pretty perfect. I'm not exaggerating when I say we did not fight at any point throughout the 2 years. I've never met someone who I found so funny. I was completely enamored with her personality and isms. She was intelligent, caring, ambitious, etc. We lost our virginities to each other, traveled through South America on a shoestring budget, could spend hours talking to each other for days on end and never get bored. Tons of great memories that shaped who I am today. We broke up because her parents threatened to disown her if she didn't break up with me and marry someone who was Jewish. It was awful for both of us, but I don't blame her. They were paying her tuition and I wouldn't expect her to risk that for a guy she met freshman year. I tried reaching out post-graduation, but she said the wounds were too painful to reopen and we no longer speak. She is now married with children. I feel like I have tried everything to get over her but I am struggling. I still dream about her 2-3 times a week, and can never seem to get her out of my head. I even started lucid dreaming to attempt to better remove her influence but it was too time-consuming. I live in NYC so there is no shortage of people to date, but I have not been satisfied in any of my relationships since. I have dated 4 women seriously since my first girlfriend, on timescales ranging from 6–18 months. I just never fell in love with any of them even though I so desperately wanted to. The spark just didn't hit. I worked on some of the relationships tirelessly, but the results always felt fake. 3 of the girls were very attractive by conventional standards and 2 of those 3 were very sweet, intelligent, etc. However, I always ended it because it wasn't fair to keep them in relationships when I didn't love them. I'll admit that I am sort of a little ugly on the face, and I'm average height at 5'9", but I'd say I'm otherwise attractive and have spent a lot of time working on myself. I'm very athletic, bilingual, have an MBA, a great job, as well as hobbies that I am passionate about. I also make mid-high 6 figures and live a pretty comfortable lifestyle. I'm honestly exasperated and I'm losing all sense of purpose in life. I wanted a family so desperately growing up. I grew up poor and focused on building a career to provide for them. I'm growing older and just don't know what to do. I have been in therapy for 7 years. I have tried CBT, a slew of medications, meditation, spiritualism, TMS, EMDR therapy, psychedelic drugs, abstinence from sex and alcohol, and so on and so forth. I feel stupid asking Reddit for opinions as it's clear to me this is a complex issue, but here I am. Any advice? TLDR, it's been 10 years and I'm not over my college girlfriend. Edit, I don't have time at the moment to go through all the responses, but will definitely reply to most at some point. I just wanted to thank people for the thought-provoking and kind replies. I really appreciate it, and especially hope the people who are facing similar challenges find happiness as well. Perhaps instead of framing her as the one that got away, you should instead view her as the first who walked away. Yes, your relationship was deeply meaningful, but ultimately the support of her parents and family ties meant more to her. She is also no longer the person she was then, so you are in love with her memory, not her. Perhaps some form of grief counseling would be beneficial. You are still mourning the end of this relationship, which is likely what is keeping it so fresh along with the life you had envisioned with her. Have you read the book High Fidelity? The narrator is also fixated on his college girlfriend and can't remember anything bad about her. His current girlfriend just isn't as exciting or perfect as his memories of this other girl. In the book he actually goes and revisits all of his ex-girlfriends and discovers that the college girlfriend is just not how he built her up in his head to be, and is actually quite annoying 19 years later. Reading this post reminded me of the book. Not advising that you should necessarily get in touch, but you might find that she is a very different person to what you remember. I would like to say it takes time, but you very, very clearly know that. I think therapy would help because a psychologist might be able to uncover the real reason behind your inability to move on. Not that loving her isn't the real reason, but, for just an example, it could turn out that you are so attached to her memory because she was the first person outside of your family to love you unconditionally. That's a doozy to get over, if that is the case. I think you are doing all you can do. Keep dating, seek therapy, and try focus on the present and future. I know, way easier said than done. In the words of Dory, just keep swimming my dude. The hard thing with 1820 is everything was new and exciting. You're mourning and craving the relationship you had, but you're also mourning and craving a return of that life that you lived when you were finding the world and becoming the person that you are today. You can get a relationship back, but you can't get back those times and those feelings. Those belong to 18-20-year-olds and aren't a part of the adult world, unfortunately. If she was the one, she wouldn't have willingly walked away, it's as simple as that. You're looking back on your relationship through a rose-colored lens, and you'll never be able to move on until you realize that your relationship ended up being a lesson, as hard as that sounds. The right person will choose you, not her parents, not her schooling, you. You deserve that much. Remind me 10 years. You say your ex is married with kids. Do you know that because you follow her on social media or look her up occasionally? If so, I think it would help immensely to stop doing that. This is just sad. You're never going to be a great catch as long as you're still hung up on an ex from 10 years ago. If she loved you as much as you love her, you guys would be together. She made her choice, you've just refused to accept it. I gotta say, I'm impressed. This sub always gets smack for giving bad advice, but I have seen some genuine good advice on here that comes close to real therapy talk. Good job, Reddit. This makes my heart so sad. I hope you find someone truly amazing who paints your world in colors you've never seen before. Please, for the sake of her and her family, respect her marriage and that she has moved on. This is a you issue. Don't try to mess up her marriage. She has kids. My parents threatened to disown me over my boyfriend who was the wrong shade of melanin. You know what I did? I said F you and I married him. They came around. She could have done the same but used parents as an excuse. It's hard to just forget someone. What you can start is by making it manageable. Whenever you get into that funk, try and find things to get her out of your head. If you are dating someone, put more effort on your relationship. Go on dates, hike, walks, drives. Make memories that can begin replacing the ones with your ex. Perhaps you should find out what she has done with her life. A dose of reality can be a closure moment that can help with moving on. You may be plagued with the what-ifs, and I would either get rid of them or redirect into more negative ideas than the fantasy ones you have now. Did they not ask if you would convert? Usually that would be case. I understand this. I think it's because you never really had closure with it all. I don't think you broke up because there was an issue within your relationship but rather outside influences. I was in the same situation and I was stuck on my first love. No one compared to him and I never fully gave myself to anyone after him because he was always in the back of my mind. Fast forward 10 years, I found him on Facebook. We reconnected, but by that point, we were completely different people and I realized that the people we had become, as awesome as we were not awesome together. I couldn't help but think about all the time I spent thinking about him, not giving these other people a real chance and never 100% putting myself out there. Stop being like me. Alright, listen, I know this sounds wrong but stay with me here. Right now you think she's the best thing in the world and so wonderful blah, okay, you're never gonna get over her that way. You gotta start making jokes about her even if it feels super wrong. Like it could even just be laughing about the situation in general, like, remember when I dated that girl back in XYZ and was significant other shocked that we broke up even though we were incompatible because XYZ. Take shots for that. If your therapist hasn't been able to help you, Reddit won't be able to. This sounds like limerence, which is similar to an obsession. She has moved on, so it's not healthy for you to not be able to let go 10 years later. Your last bet might be neurofeedback. I know how you feel, it's worse than death. But the connection you still feel that refuses to break is because you both lost your virginities to each other. I don't care who disagrees with that. It is what it is. Not sure why, but one thing that helped me get over something like this in the past is the realization that half of that relationship was you. You were just as much a part of the relationship as she was. That beautiful thing you experienced wasn't just about her alone. Half of the dynamic you're missing or mourning is actually you. It's still there in you, that capacity to generate and to feel that feeling. It is yours. You may not yet know what else will bring it out, but you haven't lost it just because she is gone. Listen carefully to yourself and see what you can find of that feeling in new situations, even if at first they're still linked to memories. You may be surprised how much of it you discover in the right moments. Out of curiosity, when is the last time you saw her? You never went through any real shit. Life doesn't get real until last university. You have no idea how she would respond to the stress. Also, she obviously didn't want you as much as you wanted her, so just keep that in your mind and soon you'll learn to resent her. I have no advice. I just want to let you know that I'm in the same situation. And all these years later I can remember the bad things about the relationship, but I still yearn for that connection. The first love is definitely the hardest, and I think it's okay to acknowledge that you will always feel love towards your first, but that cannot be your final love. 10 years is an abnormally long time to not be over an ex. Seek out therapy, you need to work out some issues. How do you know she's married with kids? You need to stop stalking her on social media. Pretend she died or something. Maybe you need to talk to her and see what she became. We miss the feeling, it's not only her, it's being young, having sex for the first time, feel the sensation that you have infinite possibilities because all your life was ahead of you. Maybe all those things are attached to her image and you need to break that connection with a little reality. I think most guys feel similar to this about women from their past and vice versa. I can think of about 3 women who pop into my head on a near daily basis. In 2 of the cases I was just young and messed up in the head and ruined the relationship. The last one, which is the most daunting, unfortunately passed away from taking pills and drinking. I got along with her the best and I can't help but wonder had she not had her life cut short. The thing is that you can't live in the past. Part of mindfulness is learning to live in the present. This is the only real way to live. You cannot affect the past. Everything is a learning experience. It's all already happened, so just let go of it. I'm actually really curious. Where is she now? Does she have a family and career? Your story sounds the same as Jennifer Aniston never got over Brad Pitt. She is still single and divorced her recent husband after only 2 years. She had a long list of boyfriend, but they all saying she was looking for another Brad Pitt in them, so they left. It's tough to get over someone even for Jennifer, a famous and pretty actress. Your fantasy of her is just that, a fantasy. But it is not real life and you are robbing yourself of a real-life love. Real-life love is much harder than what you are doing now. Dreaming about someone who was perfect. It has ups and downs. I love my husband. And I sometimes wonder why I married such an idiot. But he is my lovely idiot. Who tries his best and is only human. And I can be an idiot too, an idiot with an husband who still loves me if I am less than perfect. Be fair, no one else is going to be her or perfect. Find a new love, different love that is beautiful too. Or at the very least, find yourself a life. Just another reason religion is a cancer of this world. Fuck her parents for doing that, it's honestly emotionally abusive to both you and their own daughter, no exaggeration. Honestly, anytime parents try and control the person their son, daughter marries, I get the heebie-jeebies. Everyone needs to come to a point where they say to their parents, thank you for everything, but you no longer will have control over my life. If you haven't read the book Attached, The Phantom X is a well-covered portion of the book and it explains how and why you choose to linger there. I won't do it an injustice by trying to explain their position, but I will say it changed my life. 4 hours read, just do it. Psychedelics and spirituality help you to let go, not to cling on to some distant memory it really seems like you don't want or can let go yet. Was the most loss of control that it wasn't your fault? No? No advice, just sympathy. Your post really resonates with me. It's been 8 years, and I still can't get over her. Hope you can move on, buddy. Best of luck. Take a pragmatic approach and list out in a spreadsheet the qualities that she had, how she made you feel, etc. Maybe that first step will help to clarify things a bit. Or help when you are looking for your next partner. It may help to idealize her. Are you sure you haven't made her into saint status by now? Marriage would have been very different than dating as a 19-20 years old and traveling together. If you never fought, or even came close to it, she was not showing you her true self. Maybe you were more in love with her than she was with you, and you were more like a friend who comes along at the right time of her life, and then reality hits and she moved on. If I really loved a guy, my family's opinion would not have mattered enough to break us up. Granted, I'm in the US so I don't know what it's like elsewhere culturally. I kinda think visiting her would maybe help you see her more honestly, but I'm not sure. Did you try specialized therapy for extended grief? My Jewish father walked away from his wealthy Jewish family to marry my mother and they were 19 and 18. If it was meant to be it would have been. I know that's hard to hear, but that is the truth. I'm not minimizing that you both felt immense and intense love for each other, but once tested it broke. Regardless of what the past relationship was, the reality is you're stuck and you don't want to be. You are in an excellent position in life right now except for your love life. You're smart and young enough to get through this, but a professional is needed at this point. How do you know about her kids? Are you following her on social media still? Stop if you are. There was a girl I just couldn't get over once, but I told myself okay, I won't look at her Facebook or Twitter for a whole year. I forced myself with sheer willpower. By the time I was looking at it again, I realized I'd gotten over her. Besides the years you spent with her, you have dreamed about everything else. Your assumptions about what could have been are probably inaccurate. You sound like a catch, act like it, and the one will come along. Dude, the problem with this fantasy of your past girlfriend is just that, fantasy. The girl that you fell in love with 10 years ago is gone. She has had 10 years to evolve and change to become whoever she is today. The person she is today may not ever want to date you again even if the stars aligned. Catch my drift? It's time to start asking yourself, why am I willing to forego the possibility of real happiness for something that's not even real? What am I really afraid of? Maybe it's not even about the old GF, maybe it's something else? This same shit happened to me. Only dated for a year. Still have dreams. 20 years later. Truth is she didn't love you like you loved her. Fuck it. Been there, humans are fucking weird, man. I dated a girl for like 3 months, knew each other for about a year before that, back in like 2018. It ended just because it ended, on her terms, as these things do. She was quiet and shy and cute as a button. I'm 26 now, life together, 80k career, pets, hobbies, fit, and for some reason this FCKN girl always pops into my head. I have no problem meeting women and dating, but this one girl had me over the moon for like 90 days and I sometimes fear I let a piece of myself go, as emasculating as that always sounds. I've never told anyone, and I find it so odd how this happens to people, but I honestly think it's kind of beautiful, in a sad and melancholy way. Well, for starters, you seem to compare this woman to every girl you date, and I think that's one of the issues of why you can't move on. I'm really sorry that the love of your life is no longer with you. To see your college love move on to be married with kids should make you feel happy for her, not any more miserable or sad. You deserve to be happy, spend more days loving yourself than someone else who's already moved on. All not joking, start weightlifting if you aren't already. Also, go see her. It will be a reality check that snaps you out of fantasy land. Stop dating people who you don't speak with. It's there or it's not. 3 dates max. Play the cards you are dealt the best way you can. That is all you can do. That is all we all try to do. You're really good, understanding how young she was. I think you should reach out to her again. Truly, do you have something to lose? I think the worst case scenario would be closure. Also, if you ever have private time thinking about her, stop. Easiest way and most important way to break the endorphin connection.